This is a continuation of the last video, of which advises not to share details of your previous abuse with a new person or a person who's love bombing you. And here's one of the reasons why. It's because they can use this information against you. Because let's face it, the narcissistic personality disorder or otherwise toxic cluster B people, they all play from the same bag of tricks. They all have the same types of games they play, depending on the situation. And oftentimes when you meet one of the new ones, and if you do give out too much information, they're basically seeing it as a review of one of their own victims' responses to their behavior to somebody else. So they have you also in an inconvenient position when you do reveal this information. And what that is if you tell this new person, I don't want to get in a relationship because the last one, the person did A and then did B and then did C, well, you think you're giving like a cautionary tale to the new person to say, don't you even think about doing such things. But what's really happening is this narcissistic predator you've just met is storing this information in their head, and they're going to set you up for a gaslighting experience. And what this means is you told them how your previous partner did, like I said, A, B, and C. Well, what they're going to do in the course of your situation, usually after the love bombing and idealization goes on, they're going to actually find ways to do the very same types of things that you were so emotional about. Because the more emotional you are about it, the more they know it gets to you. The more they know it's a button they can push or jab in and smash. So what they'll do is they'll basically mimic whatever your last abuser did. And then, because you've told them all that about your abuse, they're going to try to gaslight you into thinking that you're a paranoid individual. You're paranoid. Because when you discover one such lie that gets uncovered, it's going to instantly remind you of the last person who did the same thing. Now, this is not unintentional, but what the regular non-disordered person will do is get mad and say, look, that's exactly what my last person did. Well, that was intentional. So when you do that, that gives the narcissist slash toxic person the red or the green light to say, you need to stop thinking about your exes. I'm nothing like your exes. I am different. Yet, in your mind, you're like, okay, he said he was going here, but he really went there. And you said you were going here, but you really went there. Now, where's the difference? What do you see different? So, if you do encounter that, here's a good question. Like, you can say, okay, well, I can name 50 reasons why these two scenarios are similar. Why don't you give me 50 of how they're different? And they won't have an answer because they're identical. And the way I think of this is with horror movies. Let's take Halloween and let's take Friday the 13th. Okay, both movies have what? They have a killer who wears a mask, who murders young people, and who also had some kind of a childhood trauma. Well, that's like a blueprint for a horror movie. So you've seen both, let's assume. Well, if you were to say, oh my goodness, Halloween sounds very similar to Friday the 13th because of those reasons we just listed. Well, any normal, rational person would say, oh yeah, they are pretty similar. It's the same plot, the same idea. Well, if you transfer that over to the narcissist, when you compare their evil, dirty behavior to that of someone you knew before and said, that's just like that, they're going to use that to gaslight you and say, you need to stop comparing me to him. I am nothing like him. And it's like, okay, let's go back to the movies then. Tell me exactly, how is Friday the 13th and Halloween so drastically different, like nothing alike? And there's no answer because they are the same. They're not the same movie, but they've got the same theme, which means if you were just talking to someone in vague terms like, what was that movie called, you know, the one where the masked killer killed the teenagers that had the childhood trauma? They'd be like, is it Halloween? No, is it Friday the 13th? Whatever. The point is they're very similar. But the narcissist does not want to be compared to any others because they all think that they're superior, and it basically gives them a narcissistic injury if you dare to compare their tactics to that of someone else who did basically the same thing, and they cannot really give you a valid answer as to how what they did is different from what the other one did. And it's really kind of sickening. Peace. Have a great evening.